guys, it's MissSimReno. Yes, this is my first voiceover for a speed build, and I am equally nervous and excited to do this. Thank you so much for being here on my channel and watching these builds. I've only uploaded a few so far, but you guys have just been so nice, and I'm really grateful for it because doing this was honestly just something I thought was going to be really fun. I really love building in The Sims, and I love the game overall. I've played it since the very first Sims came out, so I'm excited that you guys are here. So we'll talk a little bit more about the build. This section of Newcrest is one that I have been working on for a couple of weeks now, maybe about a month at this point, and I was thinking that this is more of a rural part of this neighborhood, and this is where a bunch of farmhouses were. So I was thinking that they're all kind of being renovated or built up a little bit more, maybe just more modernized. I did have two other farmhouse builds. They are on my channel. If you missed them, they are the grandparents' farmhouse and the renovated farmhouse. And this one's very similar to the renovated, though of course I wanted them all to be very unique. So you can see the other two actually in the background as I do this build too, which is kind of funny. And I actually love that because it really brings the neighborhood together. Anyway, this one is a little bit different, and I do use Pinterest for a lot of reference photos. I was looking into a lot of modern farmhouses for these builds, though I wanted them to all be pretty unique. So this one does have a back porch compared to the others that don't. There is still that farmer's porch, at least on half of the build, and the floor plans are all completely different, though this one, I wanted it to look a little bit more like a barn. The overall structure did not come out like that, and I'm perfectly happy with it. I think it actually is one of my favorite builds to date thus far, and I've been building in The Sims for a long time, since it launched in, was that 2014? I think, and I learned a lot from watching other builders, so I'd like to kind of just thank the community overall for being so wonderful and sharing your talent and creativity with all of us newbies, even those of us who absolutely love the game and have been playing it, you know, forever. I've learned so much from watching other people build, and some of the creative ideas that you guys come up with are just, they blow my mind. I would have never come up with half of the things that you guys do, so just thank you for sharing those things with us. But here in the build, we're really just trying to get the external structure together. I struggled with these windows. I knew I wanted a lot of them, but I wanted them to look balanced, and you could see that I'm kind of like placing them back and forth, taking them out, changing them up, and I finally got something that I liked. And like I said, I wanted to make this kind of a barn style, so I did at least make it bright red, and I did use that, I think it's the metal slated roof, something like that. It just looks a little bit more rustic, yet still clean, and yeah, I just thought it looked really nice. I do like adding those fake chimneys too. Each of the builds that has a chimney for the most part has a fireplace in it. However, it may not be exactly where the chimney is on the inside of the build. And then to add to that barn look, I did use that fence. I don't remember the exact name of the item, but I think that's perfect for a farm. And then I have seen a few other builders do this with those front tiles, so you flip the direction to kind of create that angle, because it does add that touch of realism, excuse me, and I just thought that was really neat. And then here, to give the build a little bit of dimension, I do pop that piece out, and that helped me feel a lot more comfortable with the window selection too, because it just felt very flat, so I love how that turned out. And then I do add this stone texture because, again, I wanted to give it some dimension and a little bit more personality. I end up getting rid of it on those little bottom pieces, but I keep it on the top. And I thought it looked really nice. It came with seasons, as did, you know, these windows and doors and those stairs. I seem to use a lot of seasons in this build, and typically I don't. I think a lot of the furnishings were a little bit more modern. I don't really build in modern styles too often, but they're also very rustic, so using a lot of the items in this build was a lot of fun. And here I'm just picking out a foundation. Again, I almost went with the Seasons foundation, but I ended up just doing a base game brick one because it was going to be covered with mostly landscaping anyway. And I also like to use terrain paint a lot more than actual tiles on exteriors. I just feel like they do give a little bit more depth, and they're a little bit more textured all in all. And these trees here, I try to make my builds blend in with the world around them, so a lot of the trees are repetitive in the build on this street in this neighborhood that I'm working on. So they're the hawthorn trees and the oak trees and the little tiny ones, I can't even remember. And I kept in all the landscaping in this build. let me know if you guys actually like watching that kind of come together. I personally love watching people do the landscaping because that's something that I actually struggled with a lot when I started building in The Sims. I might just plop a bush over here, plop a bush over there, and toss over a tree or something like that and kind of call it a day. But I wanted it to look real. I like my builds to look as though it's literally just like a digital image of a picture. Does that make sense? A digital image is a picture. Silly. But yeah, so I kept all the landscaping in and I made it really colorful and a little overgrown. I don't usually use very manicured landscaping items like the hedges. I might use the hedges every now and then, but I do like to make them a little bit more straggly, I think, with adding some other plants underneath them or, kind of mixed in with them. Oh, and you notice that some of those plants, as I go to place them, they raise up to the foundation level. So a trick to kind of avoid that, if you want to get the plants closer, is to just bring the foundation down, place all the plants, and then raise it back up. Really simple, blew my mind when I learned about it. I had no idea. And here we're gonna move into the interior. I did not keep the floor planning process as part of the video. It takes me a very long time sometimes to get the floor plan worked out, so I just kind of did it off camera. But if you guys do want to see more of that, I'd be happy to do that. I think that'd be really cool because, like I said, I struggled with it, so if watching me work through my very painful process helps someone, then I'd be more than happy to do it. And here we are in the kitchen. This is a Parenthood kitchen, so if you don't have the Parenthood pack, it is a great one. I use these Parenthood counters a lot, as well as the matching cabinets. Those curtains are actually Parenthood, and the tiles for the backsplash are Parenthood too. It's a great pack. It came with a lot of cool items and a lot of cool gameplay, so if you don't already have it, I believe the sale is still going on. I think they're 40% off right now, some packs and expansion packs, game packs, stuff like that. So definitely check that out. And yeah, I wanted to make it kind of a colorful kitchen. I usually go with bright pastel colors or I guess more muted colors all in all. That green is typically not a color I would use, but with this backsplash and then that little ice cream maker, it just came together. It was perfect. Pink and green all the way. And this red shelf, you guys have probably seen a lot of builders use this. That's how I first heard of it. It is a CC or custom content item, and if you're unfamiliar with custom content, there are a lot of simmers out there that make content that you can download in your game. Of course, it is not necessarily sponsored or produced by EA, so always kind of be, I don't want to say weary, but always just kind of consider where you're getting content like that. But it is a custom content item, and it just helps you raise items to different levels. So some items snap to the counters, some don't. So I use that item to go ahead and bring items up to the level that I need them, and oh my gosh, godsend. I don't know how I even place items before that. I really don't. This is why most of my builds weren't very cluttered, because I couldn't put items where I wanted them. So that shelf's amazing, and you saw me pull out the island there. I've been doing islands on a lot of builds, so I wanted to change it up. I was thinking maybe just plopping the dining right down in the center of the kitchen, but it was kind of too small. But then I decided to just use these counters, and these were basically the edge pieces, and I went ahead and I put the chair there a little askew to kind of just, I guess, add some character to it, and then I place a backpack on top of it. And I'm not thinking that this household has a child sim. I was thinking that's actually the dad's backpack. I'm thinking he's a police officer, and I had a few more details kind of pertaining to that further on in the build, but I'm thinking that he's new to the force and he takes some case files home, and he just plops his backpack in the kitchen when he gets home and kind of just goes about his evening. And here we are in the living/family room, so it's kind of a combination of both. I wanted this spot here with the bookcases, which unfortunately are not accessible because the couch is in front of them, but I love how they look. This is kind of the formal family room, I think is what it would be considered, so I don't put a TV in here. I just wanted to make it a gathering spot. So, you know, if this family has friends over, they're entertaining friends or family, and they all just want to kind of gather in a comfy, cozy place and chat and enjoy the fire, maybe in the winter, if you have that season's pack. I thought that was a really nice idea. And I never really used those couches or those chairs. Again, seasons items. I used so much seasons in this. This is crazy. But I never really used those. I didn't like a lot of the swatches, but I loved that one. I loved the orange. It was kind of a rusty orange, and that knitted or crocheted texture on some of the pillows. I thought that was really pretty, and it tied in beautifully with the bookcases. So I wanted to go with that wood, and to tie in that orange, I used these orange curtains, and orange ends up being the color throughout this build. I try to use it in almost every single room just to give the house some cohesiveness. But here is the actual living room. So I use this bright yellow couch that's base game, as well as the love seat that kind of matches those curtains there. Toss in a rug, and then I think I just add a plant and a coffee table because I just wanted to leave it really simple. I felt as though this family may have just moved into the home, so they're just getting everything situated and settled. The kitchen is kind of a logical place in my mind for things to get really cluttered really quickly, especially if you do cook a lot. So that was kind of my mindset there. And then I did add that file folder, if you saw that on the coffee table. Again, I was thinking those are some case files that Dad's brought home to kind of work on. And he seems to be the one that clutters up the house even more than the kids, because I'm thinking that the kids are very young. So I'm thinking they have a toddler, and maybe they have a second baby on the way, or they just had their second baby, because I do make a nursery upstairs as well as a toddler room. So here, since we do have the toddler, I went ahead and added the toy chest and a teddy bear and just some toddler blocks. So if the toddler is downstairs and mom and dad are enjoying a TV show, then she could be a part of it. I was thinking it was a little girl. And here's the entryway. Seasons table, more seasons. And I add this picture frame in a lot of my builds. I'm always thinking that it's a family photo. I know it's a sports team, but I like to stretch my imagination a little bit since we don't have standing up photos from, even your Sims taking photos and whatnot. And the entryway is really simple. I just kind of toss a chair in the corner and an entryway rug. And now we're off to the dining room. And this is probably probably my favorite dining room that I've ever come up with. And I think it's my favorite because it just kind of came together, and I thought it was so odd, but it worked. So the colors in the rug and then the colors of the walls and the curtains, it blew my mind. I thought they matched, maybe not perfectly, but they were at least cohesive. And I add a hutch over there and just a plant on the table. And then I pull out the, what's it called? I don't know the actual name, but it's the record player. There it is, from Get Famous. I love that record player. I try to use it in a lot of builds. However, it does have that older look. So if I do use it in my mind for gameplay, I'm trying to be like, oh, maybe it was a hand-me-down from family. Like it's a family item. Their mom or dad passed it on to them. And that is something that they carry on in the family. And since I was thinking this family entertains, extended family or friends, they would have some like soft jazz, some classical music playing in the dining area while they have a dinner party or something like that. I'm thinking this is a young up and coming family, and that's like one of their favorite things to do. So here we've moved on to the bathroom, so I won't talk too much about it. It's very simple, and there are 4 bathrooms in this house, 3 of which look identical to this one. So this is the only one that you'll actually see on camera. If you guys do want to see more, if you want to see the build in full, just let me know. I just thought the bathrooms were a little repetitive, but some people want to see them. So definitely let me know in the comments. And here is kind of the, back entryway to the back patio, but I made it a little office space for Dad. So there's a cop calendar, and I'm going to toss up the pictures of the police officers as well. I think it's an actual career item. I don't think it's necessarily in the catalog itself. I don't remember. It's a get to work item, but I feel like this is where he does research and takes notes on cases as well. I couldn't put that case board that comes with get to work. It was just too big. So we moved on upstairs. This is the master bedroom, and again, there's at least some orange in here. The pillows of this bed are just beautiful, and again, I love that knitted or crocheted look of the comforter, and it's a 4-poster bed. That's just dreamy, so I wanted to use that item because I absolutely love it. That bed is probably one of my favorites, and I don't use it a lot because it looks very coastal. But here I did put those files in the corner because, again, Dad is the clutter bug, and I think that these are some of his old case files, and he just tossed them over there in the corner, and he hasn't touched them in a long time. And maybe some of those books are his too, like different crime novels and stuff. I feel like he's a little like passionately neurotic. I don't know. We'll have to play around with that. What do you guys think? What traits should he have? Because I haven't really decided yet. And since he is a cop, I gave him a treadmill because he's got to be in tip-top shape, and I didn't want to give him a gym because when you actually play the cop career or the detective career, whatever it's called, when you go ahead and play on that lot, there's a full gym, so I don't want to give him a full gym. Oh, and here, this is one of my favorite things, I think, ever. I did not come up with this idea. I wish I could credit the original person who came up with it because it is so cute, but I've seen tons of people do it, and they put that poof on top of the little stool. I don't think it's usable, but it's so freaking cute. It's so cute. So I wanted to do it because it adds a little bit of character to that stool and that little seat right next to the mirror as is. So if you guys like that idea, please use it, put it in all your builds, play around with it, put them everywhere. It's adorable. And here we moved on to the nursery. Like I said, I think they're expecting their second child, or they just had their second child. And I lift that ottoman into the dresser to create a kind of a changing table. Granted, babies in The Sims 4, they're pretty docile. They just kind of hang out in their bassinets and you can interact with them, but you can't bathe them really, or, use a changing table. We don't have those. And so I just kind of want to play make-believe a little bit, and I try to create one. And usually I'll go into the debug menu, which, if you don't know, are kind of like hidden objects, I suppose, that you'll find around the game. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's a great menu because there's a lot of items in there that are free, and they add just that touch of realism to your game. So there's a baby bottle and some diapers in there. I love using them, but I was honestly too lazy to go into the debug menu and pull them out for this build. So if you want to add them, if you download this and you want to add those little objects, please go into that debug menu and do it, because that's what I wanted to do. I was like lazy and then kind of forgot. So here we are. And then I add these shelves here, the little height chart. I've got the bookshelf, and I just cluttered these shelves with some toys and whatnot. Granted, if your adult Sims are in here a lot, or if you have a child Sim and a toy chest, they're gonna go ahead and pick up those toys and try to clean them up. So for the sake of the build and just the upload and whatnot to the gallery, I thought it was nice to clutter them up, but they will probably be cleaned up really, really quickly. So just wanted to put that one out there. And I just kind of made this a mesh of a bunch of different colors and fun items because I wanted it to be gender neutral. And then I pull out these rugs, the combination rugs. There's 3 of them and a bunch of different swatches. And I thought the cloud one was the cutest, so I had to use it. And I pulled it out and sized it down to fit in the room, and I loved it. And then I just put a little kid's trash pail there. I'm thinking maybe that's like a diaper genie or something, which we all know isn't real, but we can all pretend. And then I put a nightlight in here just because I thought it was really cute. And this room I do separate. It was going to be one bedroom, and then I was like, you know what? The toddler does not need a room that big, so I make it a little bit smaller. And I was thinking this little girl is obsessed with blue. Like maybe she's just learning her colors and she cannot stop saying blue or picking out blue toys and things. So I went all out and I just went with that idea. I just ran with it, and I just grabbed everything I could that was blue and tried to toss it out there and make it fit in her room, especially with that bedding. And I put that toy chest, it's not an actual toy chest, it's just kind of a clutter object. I put it at the end of the bed though because, toddlers are kind of messy. They just play with things and leave them everywhere. So I thought it worked. And then I give her a nightlight as well because I believe in Parenthood, if that came with Parenthood. I think that nightlight actually prevents the monster under the bed from coming, or it prevents toddlers from getting nightmares and waking up their parents. Either way, when they get nightmares, or if there's the monster under the bed for children, they go and wake the parents up like 5 million times a night. And for gameplay, that gets super annoying really quickly. So I wanted to make sure that she didn't have any nightmares. Besides, I think that idea is really sweet. So I wanted to make sure there was a nightlight in there for her. And then I just try to add some more items on the walls just to make it a little bit more decorative and fun and cute. And I just use another blue wallpaper as well in this room, which you'll see in a second. But I do pull out these blue, I think it's like framed wall art or framed like mirror art or something like that, and the little butterfly lights, just because I thought they were sweet and kind of soft. They added some soft lighting to the room itself because I didn't put any overhead lights in either of the kids' rooms. And then I layer 2 blue rugs here because, again, blue is her thing, and I just thought it looked a little messy yet organized. And here, I decided to make this kind of a laundry nook, I guess you could call it. So I give them a washer and dryer, which I don't put laundry items in every single one of my builds. It doesn't even come to mind for me, honestly, and that's kind of too bad because the laundry stuff pack, I think it's called, is one of my favorite packs. It came with a lot of really cool, like rustic and I don't know, like eco-friendly items, I think was the vibe we were going for because the community did vote on that pack. And I don't use it a lot, so I did give them a little laundry nook. So I put the washer dryer and some laundry clutter and a hamper and whatnot. And it's right near one of the bathrooms, so I figured, I guess it kind of works. They can just leave that bathroom and just toss their stuff there. And yeah, I thought it worked. And now we're here on the back porch, so I give them a grill and I do add some like lawn ornaments, I guess you could call them, with a little birdhouse because I thought it was really sweet and it's a really colorful backyard. And I give them an outside dining spot because I feel like this family does like to spend a lot of time outside. Maybe mom likes to garden, so I gave some gardening pots and a little kiddie pool because in the summertime, this just looks like a beautiful place to be. And I give them wind chimes and a bird feeder and just a lot of fun things. And I also put a seating area out here at the front of the build. Maybe mom and dad like to enjoy their coffee out there in the morning, maybe especially dad before his chaotic job. I don't know. I also give them a woodworking bench, I should say. And I was thinking that's actually mom's, not dad's. Why not challenge any kind of status quo? But we are getting very, very close to the end of the build here, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you like what you see, please subscribe, and thanks so much for checking out my videos. Talk to you later. Bye.
What's left to wait for here? My eyes are asleep. I miss you. Bet you're feeling all alone in that big house by the lake this evening. The days here I come to bleach. Oh honey, I need you to hold me. Let's brave the crushing waves in a boat made of roses and oak tree. A little star shining down